Hi everyone, welcome to Mari Clark Creations. I'm so happy that you've joined me today. I'm going to be creating a 12 by 12 scrapbooking layout that has a Halloween theme. I'm going to be using the Simple Vintage Scary Stories collection, but I'm starting off here with a piece of Vicki Boutin Foundations paper. This is a really nice, thick, heavy white paper that I think it's 140 pound. It's really great for taking any sort of mixed media. And I did want to start with a little bit of mixed media for my background today. So I'm taking a little bit of Altenew masking tape and I'm just going to mask off about a 1-inch border around the edge of my Vicki Boutin Foundations paper here. And I'm just wanting to create that white border around the edge of my layout. I really like that look. I think it just looks really nice in lots of different types of projects. I do this lots in card making as well, where I have a white margin on my project. And I do really like to do this in scrapbooking as well. So I'm just masking this off. This tape is really great, but I will say that I did take some of the sticky off of it by just pressing it against my sweater and then taping it down. And I'm not pressing really super hard on the tape. I just want to be able to get that tape off there well when I'm ready to do so. But I also want there to be a good seal here because I want to make sure that my mixed media doesn't go underneath the tape. So just a medium amount of pressure on that tape to get it adhered down to the foundations paper. I will make sure to link up to all of these different products in the description box below so that if you want to find any of these things I'm using today, you can do that. I am using some Vicki Boutin art crayons. I have scribbled them out on a piece of heavy plastic over to the right, and I've just added some water to them and mixed them up with a brush just to create a little pool of pigment there that I'm picking up with a piece of plastic and then just laying down onto the foundations paper. Now, Vicki's art crayons are no longer available, so that if you don't have these, you can use any type of water-soluble crayon type of a product. You could actually even also use just your distress inks by just pressing your inks down onto your plastic, adding water to them just like I have with this crayon, and then picking them up with the plastic and doing basically the exact same thing that I'm doing here. You could also use your distress watercolor crayons in the same way. There's lots of different mediums that you could use that would basically do the same effect. And I'm just letting the pigment drip down the page. I'm adding splatters as I go. You can see that I'm just kind of splatting with my brush here and just really creating some cool black texture in the background. And I'll just continue this process until I'm happy with how this is looking. And you'll just see me doing the same thing basically over and over. Now, the collection that I'm using from Simple Stories, the Simple Vintage Scary Stories, definitely has a little bit of a teal color in some of the papers as well. So you'll see me also adding a little bit of blue. What I'm doing here is I'm just absorbing some of the excess moisture with my paper towel roll. And I'm bringing in a smaller brush here just to bring in some finer splatters. So a little bit of thicker with that thicker brush and then finer splatters with this finer brush. Here I'm just going in with a little more black and adding some more of that black splatter. I'm not loving that harsh line that I got over to the left there, but it's going to disappear here pretty quick. I'm going to just keep adding, and I'll do some stenciling as well. And actually a lot of this gets covered up, as it always does with my mixed media backgrounds for a scrapbooking layout. So yep, I'm just going to continue this until I'm happy with how much of that splatter texture I have added. I really like the detail that the splatter creates on a project like this. I think it just looks really fun. It just adds that little bit of extra texture and detail. Now I'm just taking my Ranger heat tool and I'm just drying this a little bit. I don't want to use too much heat on this. I don't want to warp the paper too much, but I will say that when I was finished the layout, the paper is not warped at all. It does flatten out quite nicely. Another thing that I really love about the Vicki Boutin Foundations paper, it is really fantastic paper. And yeah, I work on it a lot when I'm scrapbooking. It's a really fantastic product. And I'm not sure, I think that it was kind of out of stock there for a little bit, but I think that you can find it now. I definitely will make sure to try to link up to it in the in the description box below. But if you can find a mixed media paper that is 140 pounds, around that weight, it will work. It doesn't have to be Vicky Boone Foundations paper, but I just happen to like this product a lot. So now that I've got that pretty much where I'm liking the looks of it and I've got it dry, at this point I am going to, I think, start to pretty soon add the teal color, although I'm not really sure. Maybe I've gone to look for something. I think I will continue very quickly. Here we go. Okay, so now I have gotten one of my Vicky Boone stencils, and this is from her, I want to say this is from her Bold and Bright collection. I will make sure again that I link to this stencil set in the description box below. This is a really great layering stencil because there's a coordinating stencil that goes with it that also adds lines in the diamond shapes, which is very cool. But what I wanted to do here was just add a little bit of extra pattern to this black background. So I'm going to pick up the black art crayon that I scribbled out on that plastic there with one of Vicky's stencil brushes, and I'm going to add just kind of a little bit of this diamond pattern, and I'm not like going with the whole thing and adding diamonds everywhere. I'm just kind of being really selective about adding the diamond shapes here and there. And you'll notice that I have the edge of the stencil kind of even with the tape so that I don't end up with that line on my paper. So I don't want to go over the edge of that line if I can help it. I may do that eventually here somewhere, but I definitely try to avoid that. Now, this is where I've added that teal crayon. So any type of teal pigment, and I've added it together with the black so that we're kind of getting a little bit of a tealy black effect here. Now I want the teal to be a little more dominant, even more so than it is there. So I'm just going to add a little bit more of the teal to my brush and start to pick that up a little bit as well. So now I'm just going in with that and adding that in as well. Oh, I just love how that looks. I think that is so cool. Just to get that little bit of texture and pattern in the background. I just love that. And the cool thing about this particular shape is we often see kind of like the Harlequin sort of pattern in Halloween products. So I just thought that this was really perfect. The stencil is just definitely a winner. I love it so much and plan to use it a lot in the future as well. So I'm going to pick up more of that teal and I'm going to now just splatter with it, and I'm adding it to the black just to kind of almost get like a blacky teal color, adding those splatters in, and that actually shows up really well on the layout. I don't know how well it shows up on camera, but I really love that little pop of teal and how it works with all of the other choices that I make for the project here. And I wanted to also add some really big splats. So I'm going to just really squeeze the brush here and squeeze out some of that water so that I get a big splat. I don't know if both of these show up. I think actually only one, the lower one, shows up on the layout. I think I end up covering up that top one, but that's fine. I love how that splat, the larger splat looks. I think it just looks cool. So I'm going to go ahead and dry this and get this to where it is ready to start to build the next layer. This is a cut file that I actually cut from, this is downloaded from the Silhouette Studio cut file shop. And again, I will link this up for you as well. But I love that this is those spooky houses. I think it's really fun. And if I'm not mistaken, this might be a Paige Evans cut file, but like I said, I will definitely link to this. It's neat too that you can use these cut files for stencils. You can see how we're getting kind of that really cool stencil effect on the paper that I have below, which I love. Now I am going to go ahead and peel off this tape very gingerly so that I do not tear the paper. And I'm actually going to save that tape. I'll put it just on the ledge in my craft room because these things are expensive, so I don't want to waste it, and it definitely can be used more than once. So you can just definitely straighten that out and keep it in a spot in your space where you can reuse it. Now, these are the 12 by 12 papers from the Simple Vintage Scary Stories collection. I love this collection. It is so gorgeous. If you're looking for a really fun scrapbooking collection for the season, but honestly, there's so many of these papers that you could use not just for Halloween. There's some really fun neutrals there with the craft and the pattern on them and so on. So I really love that about this collection for sure. Now I'm just going to cut 2 little mats for my photo area just so that I can kind of imagine where I want the placement of my photos at this point. I'm going to take this paper here and cut a strip. I actually think I'm going to cut this down a little bit smaller, as in narrower. And what I want is a little spot, a little piece of paper for underneath that row of scary houses on my layout here. So I'm going to just size this down a little bit, just using my Tim Holtz trimmer here. I love this track trimmer from Tim Holtz. I think it works really well. So there you can see that gorgeous paper just underneath my houses. That die cut spiderweb is actually from a Tim Holtz die set. I will link that as well. It is just a really awesome die set that you can use for all kinds of different Halloween themed projects, or for any time of year when you want a spider web or any of the elements that are part of that. I think that was a vault release die, but like I said, I will definitely link that up. Now, the stickers that I'm using to layer onto that spider web are from the 12 by 12 sticker sheet from the collection from Simple Stories. And I did actually also do a little bit of sewing there on the bottom of the houses with my sewing machine, just a straight line of white stitching. And I've popped that up on some foam dots so that this will be a little bit dimensional on my layout in that way. So now I thought I might not print my photos before the end of this project. So I wanted to just add a layer of black matte onto my photo mats, but that actually gets covered up here in a little bit. I do have one of the dimensional foam stickers at the bottom that says Halloween on it, and I've added a little bat sticker and a little ghost die cut to that area. And now I'm just going to go ahead and add some of the other stickers and ephemera. I did also have the bits and pieces pack and the die cuts from this collection to work with, so that a little boo banner on the right side of that bottom photo is just a piece of ephemera from the collection. I love that, and I've just popped that up. It's adorable. It's going to look really cute with the photos I've chosen. And then that sticker on the left says, I love treats. And these are the photos I'm going to use are of my grandson, and they're photos from last Halloween when he was a dinosaur. I love these photos so much. They're so cute. And then on the other side of that ghost, I put a sticker that says tricks and treats. I wanted to bring some more of that teal blue in, and that is that blue color. I did pop up the little ghost at the bottom with some foam adhesive. And now I'm just going to add a few of the different little bits. Not really sure where I'm going to add them at this point. I kind of audition them in different places, but these are from that foam sticker sheet. I always buy, if I'm going to buy a collection from Simple Stories, I always buy their foam sticker ephemera sheets that are the 6 by 12 packs. They're so good. They always have so many really fun bits to them. Now I'm adding a little bit of scrapbook.com adhesive runner to that black mat, and this is where I'm just going to add the photos over top. So it does hide that black mat, but like I said, I wasn't really sure if I was going to add pictures right away to this layout, but I decided to get these printed and get them on here so that I can have a completely finished layout when I'm done. So printed these 2 photos. They are 2 different shots of him that day, and they're super cute. This year, he's going to actually be Woody from Toy Story. So I'm looking forward to scrapping those photos as well. Now, this is the journaling bits sheet that I've already cut up into strips, and I wanted to use one of these journaling bits for my journaling over to the right side of the photos. And so I was just kind of trying to decide here which one I want to use, but I do settle for the one that has the stripes on the top just because it's got like all of the colors and I really love that pattern, and it's just the right size for just a little bit of journaling. I didn't need to do too much. And it says ghoulish details on it, which I thought was so cute. And so these journaling bits that you can get in the sheet with Simple Stories are so good. That's one of my favorite sheets from their 12 by 12 pattern papers. They're always so good. And so I just took a black pen and I printed out the journaling there, and I'm going to get that placed with a little bit of foam adhesive just to give it a little bit more dimension and place that over there to the right. So really super cute. Love how this is looking. If you don't have a silhouette machine where you can cut a cut file, you can definitely still achieve this same look. What you can do instead of the cut file along the bottom is you could just put a strip of pattern paper with some ephemera and do that for the detail instead of the creepy houses. And I just love that little bit of detail with that fan above the journaling, and I'm going to add a foam dot to the back of a sticker for the center of that. And then I'm going to try to decide where I want this last little bat. I'm going to go with this spot right here. I've added that with a little bit of foam adhesive as well. And I think at this point, I'm just kind of looking at it and see what else it needs. And I think that I decide that white splatter is going to be the finishing touch, although I did add a couple of little spiders here and there. And to finish it off, I'm going to take some of my Spellbinders white splatter, and I'm going to go ahead and just splatter the entire layout. Although you will see I do have anything that has text or my photos covered up so that I don't get any paint on those items. And I'll just really generously splatter this with white splatter, and that will finish up my project. Friends, I hope you enjoyed this today. I love scrapbooking. I don't always get as much time as I would like to scrapbook these days, but I do still really enjoy it, and I hope you enjoyed this today. Make sure that if you like this video, you hit the like button, and definitely if you haven't already subscribed, I'd love to have you as a subscriber to my channel. And I have actually also popped up another video on the end screen here that you might like to watch as well. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Have an awesome day, and I will see you again soon. And don't forget to leave a comment. Bye, friends.